Hello everyone, Logie here, and I'm gonna be reacting to the bizarre search for cracks. Anyway, we're not gonna be wasting time. Let's start the video.
In 2008, a man named John Armond posted about a frightening short he saw on Sesame Street as a child in the 1970s.
What?
The following is his description. It begins with a little girl with
frizzy hair. I want to say she's a black girl. She's sitting on her bed in a horrible old house. The cartoon's in black and white. Again, I think. As she starts to look closely at the cracks in her wall, she makes out shapes. And one of these, a camel, comes to life. It's very nice. She climbs aboard and this camel takes her for a ride, meeting different crack animals. There's a monkey who's very happy to see her and says, good day, I'm glad you came my way. She also sees a crack-formed bird, and finally, the music changes, and they meet the twisted figure. Some remember it calling itself Crack Master or King of Cracks. I simply remember it being the Crack Monster.
What is a crack monster?
It yells and crumbles, leaving bricks behind. Eventually, the girl returns to her bed, realizing it was all just her imagination. She then sings, Camel, thank you for the ride. I'll come and see you again sometime.
Several decades later,
this
this short would become one of the most infamous and mysterious pieces of lost media. No one knows who made it. No one knows who found it. And for a long time, no one knew if it even existed. This is the search for cracks.
Early search efforts.
After several decades had passed, Armond was unsure if he had simply imagined this bizarre piece of media, or if it truly existed. After all, when searching online, there were no results.
Oh.
There were, however, numerous other people who recalled the exact same shorts, albeit with some different
there was
details.
no searches, there was none.
The first real trail that Armond came across was on a blog called Tale of the Rat, ran by a woman named Jennifer Bourne, with a post titled The Crack Monster.
Which was
it was posted on September 20th, 2008. Armond comments on the blog post anonymously, but still signs his name and email, and inquires if anybody else has come across the Crack Monster.
Where is the Crack Monster segment? Someone somewhere's got to have this. I think I need to see it again to have some sort of closure. I've thought about this clip every day for the past 30 years. I know, get a life. I'm 37. This clip would have aired between 1976 and 1978. I was terrified of it and mesmerized by it all at once. I've heard urban myths surrounding this clip. It had to be removed and destroyed because it was causing mental distress, etc. I don't believe that, but I do believe there's a reason why it seems to be the one Sesame Street clip that cannot be found, and why posts and links on various sites are removed.
I said 46 years because
is this part of some CTW cover?
It went from 19.
There's got to be a reason this is stuck so vividly in my brain for 30 plus years. I need to see it again and get it out. I need to stop this online crusade and do something more important. But until someone finds it for me, the search continues. Someone please put me out of my misery. Feel free to email me directly.
They want nobody to find me.
Unfortunately, not many people had VCRs at the time of its alleged airing, and there were doubts that Sesame Street had archives of their older material. Still, Armond remained determined. He and Bourne began to converse, and soon, a few other anonymous members began to chime in about their experience with the Crack Monster. And it became more and more evident that this short truly does exist, with everyone's descriptions being so similar. While not much to go off of, a small task force was forming with the sole intent of finding this monster.
The anonymous package. This going by chapter.
In 2008, several clips of Sesame Street were being uploaded to YouTube. Yet the Crack Master remained
I remember
missing.
that clip.
John Armond decided to do something that he didn't think of doing at
I
any
was
time
born
in
in
the
the
past
year
30
when
years
first
for
time I
some
started
reason.
watching YouTube.
Contact,
That was the
Children's
first thing
Television
I
Workshop.
watched.
You'd think that he would do that at some point, but whatever.
No, I don't
After
think
much
he would.
thorough searching, Armond finally manages to contact an anonymous source at CTW's archives. He learns that the segment first aired on Thursday,
forgot their
February 10th,
franchise.
1977,
I think it's
during the
in
first
clips
15
or
minutes
something.
of the 979th episode of Sesame Street. Pretty specific
This
information.
is shit out a lot of
Unfortunately, he
episodes.
was unable to get any further information,
979.
such as what studio or artist was involved in its creation, or when it stopped airing.
And surprisingly,
Armond
Sesame
stated
Street
that
is
at this
still
point,
going.
searching for the crack monster had become his life's work. However, he went a bit silent at this point.
Ran for years and years.
When suddenly, the most bizarre thing happened.
And then
Armond
they go
received
off.
a fax at work from an anonymous source. The fax simply stated, "We have the copy." Not a copy of the short, the copy.
They
There was
have a
also a bit
copy?
more to this message. They'll send him the copy of the clip on the condition that he never holds a public
Wait,
meeting
that's not-
or
that's-
releases it online in any
No,
way.
no public
The
meetings,
clip
no
was for him
online.
and him only. Armond faxes back
I bet you
confirmation that he
never had the
agrees
video.
and learns that this fax number
that
is
posted it.
untraceable.
It probably got blocked about a year later. It got
6
blocked.
months pass by, and suddenly, Armond
Hey,
finds
6
a
months
DVD
later?
in his mailbox. Alongside the disc
Like I
was a
said,
note
this
that
is
said,
2019.
"We trust this completes your search." What's
I-
also
I've
weird
seen
is
a
that it was
whole
delivered
thing
on a
2 years
Sunday,
ago.
the one day of the week that there's no mail delivery. Additionally, there was no return address on the package, nor any sort of stamp, meaning that whoever sent him this disc did it personally. After popping in the disc, a Bert and Ernie segment played out before fading into the short that eluded him for 3 decades. The
Because
Crack
it has
Monster.
no address or whatever. That's some
Armond
unknown.
finally had it in his possession, but
Says
he
the
couldn't
weed
show it
is
to anyone.
not open.
well, that's what he said, but promises don't last long. He soon contacted Jennifer Bourne and asked to meet up with her at a coffee shop in Los Angeles. She was incredibly skeptical at first. "You're crazy," I told myself, sitting alone in the coffee shop. "This is ridiculous." It was 7:29 a.m. Sunday morning. It was here that John and I agreed to meet so he could show me his copy of the
Like
so-called
coffee
Crack
houses
Monster
everywhere.
cartoon, a long-lost clip from Sesame Street that only aired a few times, yet managed to thoroughly freak out kids who saw it. Then John got a copy. At least that's what he said. He also said he was forbidden to post it.
Oh,
No
wait a
video,
minute.
no pictures, no sound.
I think
The
it's
story of how he got it
copy
was
for
strange
too.
too.
And that's how
Fellow
I got the
searchers got
copy.
suspicious.
Yeah, there's
Sure,
that.
he said he had it, but did he really have it? Months ago, he promised that he showed it to me the next time he was in town. Sure, I thought. A stranger's going out of his way to meet you and show you a cartoon? But, much to her surprise, he showed up with a bag containing the DVD. The Crack Monster had finally been found,
I
but
don't even know
who
nobody
made the
doing
shorts?
DVDs or
Who
some
sent it? And why weren't they
cartoon,
allowed
whatever
to
they
show it
couldn't
to
show. I
anyone?
would seriously wreck that. Disney throw that on the DVD. They type.
The Crack Monster segment was
Man,
both
this
found
stuff, that's what it should
and
be a book.
lost at the same time.
With the
Armond had it in his
copy,
possession, but he
that's what I
couldn't
made
share
that
it,
to a
so
book.
now what? Well, after hearing about what went down, Lost Media Wiki founder Daikate decided to try and figure out the truth of the Crack Monster himself.
I
Or
don't know if
rather,
that
the
new
Crack
page is
Master,
still there
as
or
Armond
if
was
you
able to
removed it.
confirm
I'm not
that was
sure.
the official name. Daikate reaches out
I
directly
never
to
went
Armond and Bourne
back and checked.
and learns of the stipulation that they are not allowed to release the footage. At least until Armond completes a documentary he was working on about the search. This was incredibly confusing to Daikate, as Armond had signed a contract stating he would never release it. He did send out audio of the documentary to a select few, but there were no visuals whatsoever. Daikate decided to investigate some of the rumors surrounding the shorts, to get a better idea of what's
Is this
going
on
on here.
YouTube? This on Wiki? Did you
One of
even
these
share
rumors was
this
that it was
on
animated by
Wiki?
Cosmo
Like,
Anzalotti, an animator with dozens of credits to his name, such as The Smurfs, He-Man, and Alvin and the Chipmunks. However, after reaching out to him, Anzalotti responded with this letter. "Thank you for your letter. and thank you for your efforts and dedication to preserve some rare and obscure animation history. A very noble endeavor. I'm sorry, but during my time in the animation industry, I just can't recall this particular film, Crackmaster. It's possible I may have worked on it, and it's also possible that credit was mistakenly given to me. I just don't have any memory of it. Sorry. I commend you for gathering all those signatures. I just wish I could have been more help. Good luck and best wishes to you and your work. So yeah, a dead end. But he got a pretty bitchin' drawing of Scooby-Doo. At this point, Daike begins to question the validity of Armond's DVD. I know, it's incredibly weird that he is apparently not allowed to share it, but can when his documentary is released. It's very fishy and makes no sense, especially since he signed a contract to not release it at all. And it wasn't Sesame Workshop that said they stored little video footage. It was the CTW archives held at the University of Maryland. Even weirder was an email exchange I had with the head of the Sesame Workshop's PR department, who told me, "Sorry, we will not be able to release the segment at all. Thank you for understanding." When I asked about why this was so, she simply never replied. Then suddenly, as it happened to Armond, Daike also received an anonymous message in the form of an email with a temporary address. The email contained a video file of cracks, this time including a title card and omitting the bird nerdy section, as if it was a separate file. However, unlike Armond's message, there was zero text aside from the video, no rule stating that it can't be shown online. There was nothing, just the video. Daike didn't hesitate. He uploaded the video online.
Bro, what? Is that the video?
While laying in her bed, the cracks overhead more and more looked like a camel. "Today's a rainy day and I can't go out and play. Would you take me for a ride, camel?" Said the camel crack, "Climb upon my back." And right through the wall they did go. When out they came again, they were standing by Crack Hen. "Hello to you, Miss Hen, meet my friend." Then went the three to her where Crack Monkey lived, close by the attic door. Good day, good day, good day, I'm glad you came my way. And how has everybody been?" "We've all been fine, meet a new friend of mine. She has come to meet crack creatures here." "And this is all of you?" "Yes, now that you're here too." "But perhaps not so," said Monkey Crack. "At night behind the door, I think I've heard one more." "Then let us all go make a new crack friend." So they happily skipped into where they'd never been, and in corner found a giant crack. "Who are you?" they said. The crack just growled instead and made himself look very big and mean. He said, "I am Crack Master." But just then the wall plaster began to crumble to the floor, and where the monster stood were only beams of wood. He destroyed himself trying to be mean. Went each creature to his wall, and each knowing all was well where each crack lived. "Camel, thank you for the ride. The rain has stopped outside. We'll go and see the cracks again someday."
What was that I just heard?
Despite the Crackmaster being found, there were still so many unanswered questions. Who made this?
I forgot
Where
what.
did it come from? And who sent it?
Wait,
While some were satisfied at this point,
wait, what? Ivory? Is that 5? Is that 5? I got lost and confused. Good. Is that Ivory? Cause I know numbers and times wrong. That's me. Oh, that's 4. That's 4. Wasn't sure what VR was. It was 4. Oh.
Kurt Anderson from the Studio 360 podcast decided to investigate further and answered some of those lingering questions. Not having seen cracks as a child, his fascination was more with the story behind it, rather than the short itself. He manages to get in contact with and visits Ben Lehman, the executive producer for Sesame Street for the past 17 years. Anderson discovers that their copy of Cracks isn't in the Sesame Street building. It, alongside many of the older tapes, are in an external storage facility in Queens. However, it was digitized, and lo and behold, it was found in their online databases. Now, given that any employee at Sesame Workshop could have easily accessed the short, it might have been somebody from the company that leaked the copy to John Armond. Ben Lehman had no idea who could have leaked it, but he did have some theories as to why the short was pretty much abandoned and disowned by Sesame Street. The main reason being its title, Cracks. And how about 6 years later, the war on drugs began, and crack became slang for drugs. The producers most likely didn't want their child-friendly series to be associated with drugs in any way, which is pretty interesting given that now Sesame Street has a Muppet that teaches children about drug addiction and substance abuse. But whatever. Another theory that Lehman had was that, given the recession occurring at the time, many homes and apartments weren't in the best shape. So to have a cartoon about a broken home with cracked walls could have been seen as a little insensitive. Lehman provided a lot of great information, but he had one more really interesting thing to share. He discovered that the short was created by P Imagination, a studio that he had never heard of, nor yielded any results when searching through Google. However, there was a studio called Imagination Inc. in San Francisco, ran by a man named Jeff Hale, that was involved in some Sesame Street projects. Unfortunately, the studio shut down in 1979, and Anderson was unable to speak to anybody. Luckily, an employee from Sesame Workshop came through for Anderson and found the people involved with the music for Cracks, including a mysterious woman named Dorothy Moskowitz. Kurt Anderson was able to find this mysterious woman through Facebook, and after a few messages back and forth, she agreed to speak with him on the phone. Listen closely, she might sound familiar.
I think that Facebook, whatever, please.
Hi there. Let me lower the volume now. Hold on a second.
Recognize her voice? Well, this might help.
While laying in her bed, the cracks overhead look more and more like a camel. I wish I could do it over.
She voiced the Crack Master, and had no idea that people were looking for this thing for the past 40 years. She literally found out the day before Anderson called her.
For this short?
I just found out about it yesterday, so it hasn't settled quite, but I was amazed that there's this underground set and a lot of, what can I call it, a cult, you know?
Alongside being the voice for the Crack Master, Moskowitz was also the lead singer in the band The United States of America in the 1960s, being known as one of the most influential bands of the decade. She would enjoy working solo gig after solo gig, eventually leading her to a studio gig for what would become Cracks. What's odd is that she described it as one of the strangest recording sessions she's ever attended. There was no melody for her to follow, no chords set up, and she was basically told to improvise. For the Crack Master, she was instructed to really get into it and chew the scenery, which was very cathartic to her. To this day, Moskowitz has no idea who wrote or animated the shorts. But she did remember one other person who attended the recording session, a mysterious woman dressed in white. She arrived late and was dressed head to toe in white linens, described like a living blouse. She couldn't remember the woman's name, aside from it being vaguely hippie-ish, like Sky or Earth. Moskowitz believes that she may have been the graphic artist for Cracks, but no one knows for sure. As the story of Cracks comes to an end, for now at least, we may never know who created the shorts, who sent it to John Armond, and why it was kept hidden the way it was. But in some ways, it kind of adds to its legacy. One has to wonder though, how could a short on a series as popular as Sesame Street have this much mystery surrounding it?
I think I'm going to join some of these chat groups and try and figure out what's what, 'cause I was as close to it as you could possibly be, and I'm still mystified.
Oh, this is a good video. Are we through document? I can mention that what's going on. Alright guys, and that was the video right here. That was an interesting documentary. That was interesting. Anyway guys, see you guys in the next video.